Hey, what's going on, party people? This is Pete with Backdraft Bikes, and we are reviewing the 2021 Harley Davidson Fat Bob. Hey, I appreciate you supporting the channel. I do have some new merch in. If you want to wear one of these cool shirts and look spiffy while doing it and supporting a good cause, please check out the link in the description for our merchandise. Yes, quote, it's the bike with the odd-looking headlight. So the Fat Bob, really cool looking bike, kind of a modern adaptation that Harley is going after, maybe some of the younger models, younger riders that is. There's a lot of cool things going on with this bike though. We can just talk about it a little bit. First off, the side styling, we've got dual pipes coming off the side. Harley's kind of going for the flat track racer look with this bike a little bit. It's got the 114 cubic inch engine in it, and there's quite a bit of stuff that you can do with performance on this bike. They have a lot of different options. Obviously, front mounted controls, forward facing foot position. Harley is actually appointed 2 dual piston calipers and rotors on the front of this bike, which is kind of cool. And I really like the chopped look that the fender gives with the wide tire. It's pretty rad. Now, Harley also has a few other goodies in store for this. The rear suspension is very easily adjusted. The front suspension, I'm told, is adjustable, but I'm not sure how easy it is to do that. Also, they offer 2 spark plugs per cylinder, which is kind of an interesting thing. So, you know, kind of like the Spitfire style. And of course, we have a belt drive on this model as well. Side-mounted license plate, which bends if you hit something backing into it. And again, the chop fender on the back. So, all in all, pretty cool. Now, as far as aftermarket exhaust options go, I'm told by the rep that there are lots of them, but of course Screaming Eagle makes a bunch of stuff for this as well. It'd be kind of neat to have a louder exhaust on this bike. It's a little on the quiet side. I love the paint color, army green, matte with the black offset. Again, Harley has the analog tachometer, which I really like, and then a small area for multifunction capability. They do have a lot of different bars available for this. You can actually just rotate the bars by loosening up the top clamp and change the rise as well. So that's kind of a neat little feature they build into it. Let's fire this up and give it a shot, shall we? Power switch on. Gauge cycles through. The multifunction display has miles per hour on the very bottom, as well as a trip meter. I'm told it can have a digital tach as well. It has a fuel gauge. And then above the needle here, there's all types of warning lights. So, of course, you have your dedicated check engine, oil pressure, ABS lights and such. So, pretty cool. Now that I got my gloves on, let's start this up. Oh, yeah. Definitely rumble. Got in first. Let's get out of here, shall we? She pulls pretty hard, boys. So this bike frame is a little small. It's on the smaller side for Harley. Being a tall rider, 6'4". This bike does seem a little on the small side to me, so probably somebody in the 6'2" range would be muy caliente. It'd be just perfect, right? A little feel for how this handles. it's not bad. I'm gonna compare this, and I hope that I don't get too much hating in the comments, but I'm gonna compare this to the Indian Scout. It's a very similar size platform, and the pegs and everything kind of remind me of it. The Scout, of course, I think starts off at like $11,000. This bike, well, let me throw that stat on the screen. As it sits, this bike is a little more expensive than that. Now, it definitely has some go juice. This has a lot of torque right off the bottom. As soon as you get into the upper revs, around 4,000, it starts kind of trailing off a little bit, but it's still healthy. Of course, we've got the iconic V-twin sound. Here we go. So it gets out of its way. It gets out of its way just fine. I will say, and again, in the comments, I know you're going to call me a gold wing rider or whatever, but I assure you I am not. I am a Harley owner. This bike does have a pronounced vibration in the handlebars, and you know, that's a common trait when it comes to the V-twin on the smaller platform. There's just not a lot to absorb the excess vibration that's caused by a massive engine that's firing both cylinders at the same time. Besides for that, though, this bike has definitely got a good handling feel to it. It's the fun size bike. It's not huge. It's not overly hard to steer. I felt in the corners it didn't really want to wash out. I pushed it about as hard as I would. I didn't really want to go much faster, but the corners back there, you know, 65 degrees, about 65 miles an hour, seemed to work just fine. Now I'm in fourth, and this is a 6-speed gearbox, so you can really lug this thing down. So at 55 miles an hour, I'm at 2,000 RPMs, which is really, really low. This bike is just a very low geared, almost like a diesel engine feel, right? Very sharp corner here. I got it in second gear. Scrape the peg just a touch. Yeah, and it has no problem. I mean, again, torque, fire-breathing monster. It's a really large engine compared to the weight of the bike and the size of the frame. So that's kind of nice. I will say what this has over the Scout, the 2021 Scout Bobber, that's very similar to this bike, as far as comparison goes, is this bike is much more comfortable to ride. The seat is well thought out. I don't feel like my tailbone is breaking off, and the suspension on this bike is much more friendly as well. This is a moderately bumpy road, this route that we're doing, and by the end of the 10-mile trip on the Scout, it was like, get me off of this piece of buckboard. This bike, though, on the other hand, the ride is much better, and you know, that just goes to show Harley's forethought on engineering and thinking about the rider first. It's interesting to see what Harley's doing with their motorcycle lineup right now. You've got a lot of new bikes coming out, and they're almost getting away from their traditional cruisers. You know, they are still making them, obviously, but their marketing is going for younger riders, and I think that's beyond a shadow of a doubt. Everybody would agree with that. I purchased a Pan America, which I have several videos on this channel for, and I couldn't be happier. The bike is amazing, and it just seems like Harley is now starting to think a little bit more as far as just launching a bike. They're starting to think a little bit more about things before they pull the trigger. Beautiful day here in downtown Loudon, New Hampshire. Cow Hampshire, as we call it. Wind is blowing. It's probably 65 degrees. Got a tractor coming at me. Give Farmer Brown a wave. How we doing, brother? Yeah, this bike is nice. I like it. Again, 2,000 RPMs, just putting along, doing the speed limit here, and the bike feels great. It's got a nice a nice cruisability to it. And then of course on the track there, we were able to uncork it a little bit, and boy, I'll tell you, it was awesome. We're gonna hit the back side of the track too in just a moment, and we'll do our test after Dead Man's Corner, and we'll see how this bike stacks up against the other ones. Interestingly, I like the change that Harley's making too in their graphics and colors. This bike looks awesome, even matches my pants. I didn't plan it that way. Now, one thing Harley has on a lot of these bikes is the turn signals are actually on each handlebar. So you've got your left hand on your left side, your right on your right hand. Here we go. And self-canceling, so that's nice. Here we go, we got another tractor here, and this guy's taking up most of the road, so I'm going to give him plenty of room. How we doing, Bubba? Here's ya. Hey, hey, hey. She gets up to speed quick. Like I said, again, a lot of torque on the low end. I like the feel. I like the grunt. I'm a big torque fan. I like to be able to crack it when you're running out of a corner and just enjoy it, enjoy the road. The vibration in the handlebars, it's definitely noticeable, but it's not like out of control crazy. There's probably some dampening that they've done to this, and I'm not trying to be a sissy pants here, so don't take it that way. I'm just calling it as I see it. And again, the riding position on this, forward controls, my feet are forward, is nice, but my heel, it's actually higher off the ground than when I was on the Scout, so I've got a couple inches above that, and that's nice. Coming around the corner on the first start of this road though, taking that corner tight, the bike didn't feel like it was going to tip over, but I definitely felt the peg under my feet grab a little pavement, so not a problem. Just kind of know your limitations. You guys have one of these bikes? Have you ridden one of these bikes, test driving it? What do you think of them? I think I like it. I really like the headlight. I like the way the bike is short, stout, chopped up, ready for action. I like Harley's thought process on this. Out of all the bikes that Harley makes that are of the vintage variety, this is my favorite so far. I like the drivability of it, just being able to you know, enjoy the ride. No windshield on this, obviously no fairing, so you're openly exposed to all the elements, which is kind of nice when it's hot. Get caught in a storm or something, obviously you might have to take a little shelter. I wouldn't think you'd put a windshield on this anyways. I think it would look pretty stupid. Good visibility from the mirrors. Can see everything clearly, so that's nice. All right, let me catch up with you in just a sec. We'll pull on the back of the track and we'll uncork this baby again. Okay, here we are on the back side of the racetrack. We'll give you a little feeling about how this bike runs wide open again. The bike's like a purring cat when you idle it down, but once you open it up, it turns into a little bit of a roaring lion seeking to devour someone. The front tire, if you just jab it like that, you can feel it get a little light. So that's pretty good for the weight of this bike. Dead Man's Corner, and we'll stop real quick. 0 to whatever. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And the brakes aren't too bad, surprisingly, for a single-sided front rotor. Nice. I like it. You can feel the wind when you get up fast on this bike, though. I'll tell you that much right now. Hey, thanks for riding with me, guys. I appreciate it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to give this thing a, I don't know, cruiser bike, 6 or 7. I'm going to go 6.5. 6.5. Would like to have a little bit more power, better brakes, and no vibes, but that's just my opinion. Let me know yours, guys. Till next time, ride safe.